Nasdaq down 2.8%, marked the sixth week Nasdaq been falling in a row. And the trading tips, eBay, Expedia, and Tesla. Well, I managed to sell all of them in green last week. How much? I will tell you a little bit later. I will also reveal what kind of companies I will try to make profit on this week. In addition to this, we will try to answer the question, what will happen this week? What are the things to look out for? What is the possible conclusion for the week ahead of us? I will give you the usual analysis of Apple, Microsoft, and Tesla, and also Bitcoin and Dogecoin. And last week was a very bad week for crypto. And as I said, if Bitcoin breaks the support at 37,000, you could expect a very fast fall to 30,000, which actually happened. Will it continue further down or will it bounce up? I will try to give you my best answer on that question. So stay tuned. This podcast will last you anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes. I don't know yet because I am out traveling and I will do it on the fly. Anyway, first we'll have to do the disclaimer and then we will get back to the business.
Hello everyone. Welcome to the StockInvest.us weekly stock and crypto podcast. The podcast is hosted by StockInvest.us co-founder and Golden Star Signal inventor, Jim Stromberg, who has been actively trading since 1996. If you are watching us on YouTube, make sure to hit like and notification bell so you will be first to know when we post a new video. This podcast is also available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, and other audio sources. Ensure you listen to the entire podcast so you don't miss out on some key tips needed for this week's strategy.
Welcome to StockInvest.us podcast. We remind you that trading involves a high risk of losing money, and that you should speak with a financial advisor before buying or selling any securities. You should not base your investment decision upon StockInvest.us. By using the information provided, you agree and are held liable for your own investment decisions.
It was yet another red week for Nasdaq, being down 2.8%, ending the week at 11,805 points. Now trading below 12,000, does that mean that we have to go down to 11,000 points for Nasdaq? That is one of the questions I will try to answer in the next few minutes. Dow Jones, being at 32,899 points, down 2.18% for the week. And being under 33,000, you can expect Dow Jones to go down to 32,000. The end of this story may be, as I told you in several podcasts, Nasdaq may fall all the way to 8,000. But there are signs and signals showing that we might be at the short-term bottom, which might very well yield very nice percentage for the one that are in the market when the bottom appears. It's hard to make money if you're not skilled. But if you are skilled, this is the market where you really can make good money. Because volatility works that way, you have very much profit in very short term if you manage to hit the bottom. I will not try to explain all of this, but I will just keep the general rule which I've been telling you about. Buy on red days, sell on green works very well in volatile markets. But there are things indicating that this week will not be as volatile as last week. And I will try to explain that, looking at the fundamental, then looking at some technical things, and try to summarize what I think will happen for the week ahead of us. From a fundamental point of view, there are no really big news coming out. You have to keep an eye on Ukraine. Putin is very much pressured, and anyone who is pressured, like any common investor, usually starts to double down, investing even more, losing even more, and things may escalate. So keep an eye on the Ukraine conflict. Other than that, there are no big numbers coming out from the governments, but there are some key results, and one of them is Walmart. Walmart will tell you something about inflation. But inflation numbers last week came in as expected. They are very high. And everyone now understands they are not transitory. They are here to stay. The question is for how long. A few of the things determining this is the oil price. And the oil price despite Biden telling you that I will take the oil down. Together with OPEC, we have a plan, we will release emergency oil, etc. Oil actually went up $1, now trading at 109. And if you rewind, I don't know how many podcasts back, I told you what happens when they release emergency oil is that you are burning your storage. And when you really need it, because there are signs coming up that we will need the oil, there will be less, and that will just push the oil price even higher. So what are the things coming up? Well, there will be a winter season. In addition to that, now Ukraine started to mess around with Russian gas, and Russia also started to shut down gas. This hurt big economies like Germany, which have to change their energy consumption, will take a huge toll on their business, which will affect all of Europe and eventually the world economy as such. But they will have to convert, so they'll have to burn more oil. That will push the demand for oil even higher. And it goes across all the board. So everything is indicating that oil will go up. And we know oil is such a huge part of the cost, of the energy cost in general. Everything is made of oil. So that will just keep inflation high. So there is no reason to believe that inflation will go down. And the only way to combat inflation is to increase the interest rates. And when you increase the interest rates, I told you that Fed will have to be aggressive. Stock market really doesn't like that. So for the long term, there is no really positive outlook for the stock market. At some point, the stock market will be ahead of things. But exactly when, I will not try to answer that in this week's podcast. We know because stock markets go up before the markets themselves find an actual bottom. But everything is indicating that we are in for a huge struggle. And you can just keep an eye on the job numbers because now they will start to weaken. You will have to save money somewhere. That inflation that you're just paying for, you will cut it somewhere. Will it be restaurants? Will it be Domino Pizza? A company that's done so phenomenal good over the years, growing in the silent, being a steady banker, will it now start to see a decline as you have to save money? Or will it be on air tickets? Will it be on cruise tickets? Where will you start to save? Because these are typical stocks that you do not want to go in. On a side note, I can tell you that usually when there is inflation, which I think will end with stagflation and recession, food stocks usually do good because that's one of the places where you save the least. Usually you save on high items like restaurants, sports, and other things. So you might not go into sport fitness or any of these type of stocks. So there are no major announcements except the quarter results. If we look at the technical picture, and that will also give some of the reasoning why I think we might be at the short-term bottom. At StockInvest.us, we analyze more than 38,000 tickers, giving a buy, sell, hold evaluation. And based on this, we can tell how many buy signals there is in the markets. And last week, it was only 13% buy signals. And I told you, this is usually a very good buying opportunity at the same time. It is at a level where things can go very bad very fast. It will be volatile. This week, we are still at 13% buy signals. I somewhat like that because it's the same. It's not falling any deeper. And that is one of the signs indicating that we might just be at the bottom. If you look at charts and if you go to StockInvest.us and use overchart, you will see the price line in many of the stocks are now starting to color in green, which indicate they are oversold on the relative strength index. And if you listen to my last week's podcast, I told you that the trading tips were based on stocks being oversold, having a natural reaction up. Nasdaq only 7% buy signals, same thing been for 3 weeks now. It's extremely low. And usually it might be a very good buying opportunity. New York Stock Exchange, 10% buy signals. London fell a bit last week. Same thing with Tokyo, 23% buy signals, but Shenzhen finally increased up from 7 to 15. So we start to see things go a little bit better in China. And summarized, I think these are signs, together with all the charts that I look at, that there might be a technical short-term bottom giving you an opportunity. Oil, as I told you, stay at $109. Gold actually has been falling more than I thought. It's down at $1,805. The 10-year Treasury yield also fell a little bit at 2.94%. But for those who remember, it was once upon a time down at 1. Now it's almost at 3. I was traded about 3 last week, and I think that you will just see it keep increasing, because we are in a situation where we only can fight the inflation with increasing interest rates, which means your mortgage will be more expensive. You have to save more. Where will you save? I tell you and I repeat all these things because I want to put into your mind. When you invest, try to figure out what will happen with the company in the long term, because that will reduce your risk somewhat. Because I know how easy it is to buy, how hard it is to sell, and very often you buy a stock and you just sit in it. And it doesn't help if that sector or industry is in a downturn trend. So where will you start to save your money? Because most people will do the same thing as you. And that might not be the type of stocks where you want to invest your money right now. If we look at charts, we see that a lot of stocks are oversold. There is high chance that we are at the bottom. We know that the Nasdaq has some resistance now at 12,000 points, later at 12,500 and 12,700. For the week as such, we'll try to conclude right now before moving to the trading tips and the stock analysis. I believe the chance is greater that we are at the short-term bottom than continuous fall. You heard me for a few weeks saying now that I think there might be a buying opportunity. At the same time, I had to admit that markets been falling also the last 2 weeks. Last week's title was, for instance, how to make money in the red markets using the volatility. That applies also for this week. But I think we are at the short-term bottom. And when and if the markets go up, there will be a very nice upturn. If we go back to week 11, Nasdaq moved up 8%. And I think it might not be this week because I cannot tell for sure. But there is a fair chance that we are at a place where these things may just happen again. Having Dow Jones more than 5% in a week and Nasdaq up more than 8% in a week. For the many penny stocks or the many smaller stocks or some of the tech stocks, the gains will be fantastic if you are able to hit the bottom. All technical science tells me that we are at a place where things have a fair chance of going up. At the same time, repeating for the last time, the signals are very low, meaning that the markets are oversold. And in such situation, things can fall even faster. Happened to Bitcoin, happened with the markets 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, when Nasdaq fell 4%, it can just fall even faster. So it's a gamble. You just have to play with it. But I see, as I say, the signs. For the week as such, I think Nasdaq will crawl back above 12,000 points. Not sure exactly where it will end. I will just give a guess at 12,200 points. That will not dwell more with that. We'll jump very quickly to some technical analysis. Microsoft, Apple, Tesla. Quick look at Bitcoin and Dogecoin. As you know, Bitcoin fell very hard last week. Will that be followed by further fall, or is there a chance that it bought up? Last week I told you, if Bitcoin falls below 37,000, it should fall very fast to 30,000, and I might just buy back in again. Will I do it? I will tell you very shortly, along with the trading tips. That will be the next section. So we are at the technical analysis, and I will really try to be quick this week because I'm out traveling. I have things to do, and there is really not much to tell you from the technical analysis. All I can say that is I missed the targets. The stocks were falling harder than I thought. I had a target of Apple, for instance, at 160, ending the week at 147. I had a target 280 for Microsoft, uh, ending the week at 261, and I had a target for 920 for Tesla, ending the week at $769. So I was off. But if you have been following me, I've been reducing my targets for these stocks for many weeks. So the direction has been right. If you're listening to this podcast at Anchor, Spotify, or wherever, you will also be able to find this podcast at StockInvest.us YouTube channel, where you will see the charts. And we will do that. We will quickly look at the charts and see what the chart says, and see if we can find a target for Tesla. If we look at the chart, we can say that Apple is in a falling trend, and it's bounced up from the bottom of the trend, just as you can expect it. That was $142. It is currently trading just above some resistance around 145. Next will be 150 and 155, 160, and all every $5 upwards to $180. Sell signal short-term moving average, sell signal long-term moving average, and there is even a sell signals from the relation between these two. And at Stock Invest we have a golden cross, but we also a golden star, but we also have Death Star, and that was also signaled early in April. But it's very low on the relative strength index. Volume increased very hard on the main fall, where Apple fell all the way to $142, and I consider that as a sell-off, usually a technical good thing for the short run, because you can expect further bounce up. And this is what I believe for Apple. I think Apple will push upwards, will face huge resistance at 155, and later all the way up to 160. I think that one will be too hard, but should be able to push somewhere, let's say 157, 158 intraday, unless markets get extremely green. Then it can push all the way up to 165. Some support where it is. If it breaks 142, you can expect it to fall to 135 very fast, but I think it will pick up and trade anywhere between 142 and $155, ending the week somewhere, I would say, around $157. So that will be the target for Apple. And let's quickly just look at Microsoft before we head to Tesla, Bitcoin, and Dogecoin, and get to the trading tips. And looking at Microsoft is just a reflection of what we saw in Apple. Falling trend, bouncing up from the bottom of the trend, lots and lots of resistance above. And as I told you in previous podcasts, this just indicates a very slow move. What I think is that Apple, Microsoft will move upwards to the middle of the trend, maybe not this week, but to the middle of the trend before falling further. Sell signal short-term moving average, long-term moving average, tons of resistance anywhere from 175 to $290. I think that will be the high for the week, 275. I'm not sure, it could be also 280, but let's say 275. I think the support at 253 will hold, and I think the stock will move somewhere between these two levels for the week ahead of us, ending somewhere around $272. You saw it in Apple, you saw it now in Microsoft, bouncing up from the bottom of the trend. And that will be one of the tips for this week's podcast. Let the trend be your friend. The trends are very nice tools. And if you watch on YouTube, you can see the trend lines as two long marks showing the trend channel where the stock is moving, and you can expect it to move it in. If it breaks above or below any of these two lines, you can expect a shift. So that's usually the places where you as a trader try to focus, make sure that it stays above, because if it stays above, you can expect it to move further up within. So what we saw in Apple, what we see in Microsoft are natural reactions, and that gives more fuel to the idea, more reasoning to the idea that we should see a continuous upturn during the week ahead of us. How long it will last remains to see. As I told you, there is huge resistance when we get to the middle of the trend for these stocks. And quickly Tesla before Bitcoin and Dogecoin. And if we look at Tesla, it broke down last week, broke down from the support, had a huge fall to 800, broke that one, had a huge fall to 700, and then you can just follow that psychological numbers, which I tried to teach you earlier on. Hundreds, like 700, 800, 750. It works very well. So when 900 was broken, it fell to 800. When 800 is broken, it fell to 700. It will not always fall to the 700 exact. It should be so anywhere upwards to 3% above or below, depending if it's a support or resistance numbers. The things to note about Tesla is that it came from oversold relative strength index, actually still is. Last week was when it bottomed at $728, was at 21 on the relative strength index, still at 28. It's oversold. It's colored green, the price line. Usually you will have an upturn. You can see the volume increased much by the end of the week. Looks very much to me like a sell-off. That is what you want. You want a divergence when the stock is falling very hard. You want that sell-off. You want volume to increase to get out all the doubters, putting in room for the believers. And I think the believers will push Tesla up. Problem is that now there is such resistance above 800, 850, 900, 950. Fair chance that we will move upwards to 850 for the week. Could even break above, and there is also a fair chance that we will see further up down. Difference between Apple, Microsoft, and Tesla is that Tesla is not in a defined downwards trend. And that gives me idea that on a very good situation, we can have Tesla easily back at 12,000 points. Last time I bought Tesla was 560, went all the way up to 1200, then I sold. Been struggling to get in later, but currently I'm at the levels where I might go into Tesla for a longer view. But for the week as such, I was ahead of us, sell signal, short-term moving average, long-term moving average, even the relation between the two of them shows a sell cross. But for the week as such, I think the support will hold. I think the stock will move upwards. Might be too tough, that resistance at 870, but should end somewhere close to 870 for the week as such. And last week I had Tesla as a trend tips. I bought Tesla as low as I could on Monday. I will tell you when I sold it because it was sold on Tuesday, the day after, using trailing stop loss. I will do the same thing this week. Tesla will be one of the trading candidates for the week. But before I tell you the rest, we will look at Bitcoin and Dogecoin very quickly and see what we can see. Last week I told you that if the support at 37,000 is broken, you can expect a very fast fall down to 30,000. That happened. I told you there was no support below, very little. And that's a very, very bad combination. Now there is very little resistance above, some at 34,000, but the main bulk of resistance is 38 to 44,000. It's a fair chance that we will have a rebound up to 36, 37,000 before you can expect further down for Bitcoin. I told you if I get Bitcoin back at 30, I will buy, have that classical sell-off. Huge volume increase. You have to look at the charts and you will see that huge volume increase. We saw that in Apple, we saw that in Microsoft, we saw it in Tesla. These are classical sell-off. Some of the signs I told you in the market section, there are signs that we have a temporary bottom established. I really think that's the case. Good argumentation why we will have at least a green week, maybe even as much as 5. I don't know yet. Anyway, I think Bitcoin will go up, but we have to be realistic and say that 50,000 is far, far away. Now it might be a trade upwards to 36, 37,000 short term. How it will deal with the resistance above, hard to say. Target for the week will be $36,000. And that brings us to Dogecoin. And Dogecoin also fell very hard, fell all the way to 8 cents, is now picking up, being oversold on the relative strength index. It's a real shitcoin, represent all these other shitcoins or altcoins or whatever you like to call them. Fair chance that you can make trading money on this. The risk should be far less now as it fell as much. So there should be a trading opportunity from let's say from 9 to 13 cents, but the dream of getting back to 20, my last trade was at 20. I told you I got in a small portion, high risk, which I was willing to gamble on. That has really not paid off, and it's such a small sum that I really don't bother much about it. But looks to me that it will be a long time until I see 20 again. Is current level a buying opportunity? Yes, I think so, especially if you trade. In general, crypto has high risk. Right now, stocks are a little bit more attractive. I think crypto will get back a little later. But markets are shaking. And I will end that this week's session saying that the target for Dogecoin, let's put it at 11 cents by the end of the week. But what I wanted to say to end this session before going to the trading tips, and I will tell you what stocks I will trade this week and also tell you how last week's trades went. What I wanted to say is that what we see now is we see sell-off in gold, we see a lot of sell-off in stock, a lot of money has been realized. This money will be pushed in somewhere. They will not go to the bank because in the bank they will be eaten by inflation. I told you about how you can play bonds and the interest yield because there are security investments and we will see money flow into these for sure. They already are. But right now there is also a lot of liquidity waiting to get back into the markets. You just have to ask exactly where will they go. Will they go for the high risk stocks? Will they go for the low risk stocks? Will that Apple rebounds be very nice? I don't know. You have to think about it. I have a few ideas and I will share some of them in the trading tips that is coming up now. So we are at the final part of the podcast, the trading tips, and you may wonder how did last week go? Well, I told you I would try to buy Tesla, eBay, and Expedia as low as I could on Monday. And the first stock I got was Tesla at $783. Tesla did exactly what I hoped. It went up. I also told you I did not have time to watch the stock, so I had to use stop loss because normally when it's volatile market, you want to be trading very actively. Tuesday was very amazing, just as expected. The stock went very well up, but I had a trailing stop loss. I think Tesla was up at 825, if not more, 835, before markets again started to turn down. And the stock was sold by stop loss. Lost me some 3-4% at least, but I managed 0.13% profit on Tesla. Actually, very happy about that. It was a gamble. As I told you, I could not sit and watch. So I let trailing stop loss do the job. Same thing happened in eBay. I bought eBay at $48.30. It went up. I'm not sure if it was $52, $53. Everything moved the right way. Then started to fall, and it was cut by stop loss at 48.85, giving me 1.14%. And you might not be very impressed by this, but the week was red. I am happy about any percentages. And if I was active trading, following the market from minute to minute, I would have yielded a few more percentages out of the stock. The last stock was Expedia. I bought Expedia at $127.60. Went very well, went flying sky high. And then it started to fall, and the trailing stop loss did the work. It followed the stock up, not down. It was sold at $133.24, giving 4.42%. So all stocks were sold in profit last week. It was not a huge profit, but I am super happy. Which are the trading tips for the week ahead was? It is very, very simple this week. I will do the exact same stocks. I will buy Tesla, eBay, and Expedia in the morning. I have very, very huge faith in Expedia and eBay, and it's the same argument like last time. You can watch the charts. They are at the bottom of the trend. They are moving up. They had this classical sell-off, very little resistance above. Usually a very good combination. The risk is somewhat medium, I would say. I like everything I see in the technical picture, and it will be run on stop loss. So if it goes south, well, I will just lose a certain amount. But very happy. Week 18, 3 greens. Amazon was sold with 2.8% profit. Tesla with 5.73% profit. And Amcor at 10% profit. I did Tesla last week as well. Not so much. I will do Tesla as I said this week. So the trading tips for the week ahead of us. Try to get into Tesla as low as possible. I will try to get in at eBay as low as possible. And Expedia. I told you last week, and I noticed on Discord that some user actually picked up what I said. I said that the market usually bottoms somewhere around 10 o'clock trading time. I'm not sure if it was 2020 or 2030 or 40 at the bottom last week on Monday before starting to go up. I think somewhat the same thing will happen today. It might be a red start, giving you an opportunity, and then either going horizontal or start to move up. So it will be the same strategy this week. And if lucky, we will see markets getting more solid during the week. Maybe enable me to stay longer because there is a huge upside in many of the stocks I just mentioned, much more than 1 or 4%. We just have to tread water when it's a red week. And during the last week, I did several trades because I bought on the very red days and sold on the green days. But these are the trading tips that you can follow. And in just a few weeks, there will be a new podcast coming out in a little bit different changed format where we will do trading much more actively, and we will start with a certain amount most people can follow, and I will try to give you my best advice, and we'll see if we are able to grow that portfolio as well. I am enjoying good weather in Norway. I have lots of things to do, so I will leave you there and hope that you will have a good, solid week. And if you don't manage to do well in stock markets, at least try to have some fun. Else, go watch a nice movie, go for a nice walk, do whatever pleases you, do sports, go for a walk, talk with friends, anything, because stock trading is not everything. And tomorrow, Norway is celebrating national holiday. 17th of May, the National Day of Norway. I might even go in the parade myself. Who knows? We will see. I might let you know next week. Until then, have a good time.